Hey folks, this is Terry B. Out riding my bike on the Wolf River Trail, place I really love. I mean, I like riding this little trail because it's just a nice little trail. Some flat spaces where I can ride easy, and a few little hills and curves, and just makes it interesting. I like riding over here. This is my favorite place. Well, where I'm at right now is a little observation area, or a place off the trail. It's a little swampy place, but that's what it's for. It's for looking at turtles and stuff off the trail. There's a little platform here with some rope, and of course there's my bike. But what I'm here for is I really want to share my testimony. I've been for years I've been blogging, writing it out, and doing that, and I teach in person a lot, and I'll share my testimony at the drop of a hat. But I haven't been able to do it on here on a video like this, so that I can share it all over the place. I'll put this on Facebook and maybe even put it on YouTube, but if it works out. Anyway, I just wanted to share my testimony some. This is a vlog, and it's my first one, and it's probably really messed up, but we'll figure it out. Our pastor yesterday in the worship service said that we need to be sharing our story. Well, I do that all the time. I mean, that's what I do on blogs. I teach some what God's Word says, and I share my testimony of things where God has done things in my life and changed me and transformed me. But I thought I'd do this video. Now, I know y'all don't want to look at me for the whole time, so I thought I'd give you this pretty little view here. Well, what view, if you'd call that pretty, little muddy water pond, but it's okay. Anyway, like I said, I want to share it because I really need to share my story, and I can do that here. So anyway, let me just kind of get started. Back in early 1990, we had moved from a place that we had lived. It started really getting to be a rough area, and we moved out to one of the suburbs, Bartlett, Tennessee, and life was changing for us. My sons were getting a little older, and my oldest one was getting ready to be a teenager, and my youngest one was 7 or 8 years old. And anyway, I started realizing, since I came from a divorced family, I spent most of my teenage years kind of on my own. So I really didn't know very much how to raise boys. So I just realized that I needed some help. And so I talked it over with my wife, and we decided that we probably needed to go to church. Most of the folks that I knew from church seemed to be nicer. I coached ball teams for my sons, and a lot of the kids that went to church just seemed to be nicer kids. They didn't seem like they were going to get in trouble. So I thought, well, why not? Maybe I'll get some help from them. Well, the very first Sunday in 1991, I decided to take my family to church. Had never been to church before. Did maybe a little when I was young, but as far as we were concerned, the family, we'd never even thought about that. So we thought we'd give it a try. So we were trying to decide what kind of church we wanted to go to, and I thought, well, I had quit drinking, but I wanted to be able to drink. So I mean, if I really wanted to, so I thought I'd try different churches, but I didn't want to go to a Baptist church. My son had gone to a Baptist church a few times with his friend around the corner, and so he said, okay, we'll do that, and we'll give that a try. He really wanted me to go with him and us to go with him. So I said, okay, let's go. very first Sunday in 1991. We got our clothes on, made it there on time, made it on time for Sunday school, and decided we were going to do the whole thing if we were going to check it out. We couldn't just go to the worship service. Didn't understand that anyway, so we went and pulled into Bartlett Baptist Church and went into the little entrance area there, and they had an information desk, and we sent the boys on to their class. They got us there quick, and they found a Sunday school class for us, and we said, okay, we'll go. And of course, like I said, I didn't know anything about church, but I carried my grandmother's big old coffee table Bible with me. I didn't know any better. The big old King James Version. Didn't understand most of it anyway. I understand the language very well. I mean, I could figure it out, but it was hard. Anyway, started going and looked around, and there was a lot of people there. At that time there was probably 1,200 people at our church on any given Sunday, so it was crowded, and kind of like that because you could see there was a lot of people really cared about going there. Well, let's see, I'm 6 minutes into this thing already and barely getting started. Anyway, wanted to just say I kind of liked it. I kind of liked being there, and I said, well, we'll come back. Did the whole Sunday school thing, listened to the lesson, and went to worship service, and they sang old songs that I'd heard before when I was young, and so it was okay. I wasn't threatened anyway. So we left there that day, and really didn't know what to think about it. For some reason, I knew that those people were there to worship God. To tell you the truth, I really didn't know if there was a God or not. I had never really encountered him that I could tell of. And matter of fact, if there was a God, he didn't like me very much. Matter of fact, he hated me, or he was completely indifferent to me. But when I got home, I said, those people, they know something about the Bible, and I don't want to look stupid. I mean, that was fairly easy to do anyway, but I didn't want to. So I started reading the Bible, and I didn't know, I didn't understand it. I mean, that big old Bible, it was a King James, but I could figure out all of the words. I mean, I knew how to read well, but it just didn't make any sense to me. I couldn't match up what the Bible was saying to what those folks believed at the church. So I said, well, I'm just going to read. And I started reading at the very front, that very first Sunday. It was kind of weird because my family, I started reading, I dug into it, and I wanted to read several chapters and Genesis, and just tried to keep going. And after I'd read, I don't know how long it was. It may have been a week, it may have been 2 weeks, but I read so long, I just, I went back the next Sunday, and I was still reading, and I thought, well, that's, I'm back again. So now what? So I kept on reading. I didn't understand. It was still kind of weird to me because I couldn't make the connection. And so I said, somewhere, like I said, I don't know how long it was. It could have been 3 weeks, but I was reading quite a bit, 2 or 3 chapters a day through Genesis, and then on through. And I finally got to the point where I said, God, I don't know if you're real or not, but if you are, you're going to have to help me with this, because I don't understand it. I mean, I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand anything about this. But if you're real, you got to show me, because it's not making any sense to me. And about that second that I got that out of my mouth, all of a sudden it hit me. It was like God just touched the inside of my heart, and he said, here I am. It's me. And at that moment, man, I knew there was a God. I mean, he touched me. He revealed himself to me in such a way that it was like, wow, I don't understand this, but I did. understood that there was a God, and that's what the whole Bible was about, not just how those church folks or anybody else dealt with life. It was about God. Well, I started, like I said, I just started reading from a different perspective. As a matter of fact, it was kind of like retroactive back to what I began to read in the very first of Genesis. And God just says, it's me. Here I am. That's what it's about. You look for me in here, and that's what you're going to find. You're going to find me. And don't try to use this to fix your life. I can do that. And I trusted him to do that. But I knew that there was a God. At that point, I was willing to do whatever God wanted me to do. I didn't know what that was. Well, there's a God. I'm going to do whatever he wants me to. So I continued reading. And every time I'd come to a place, God would just almost like he would touch my soul and touch right down into my heart. And he'd say, that's me right there. I'm doing this. I'm the one. What you're reading about is me. It's not about anybody else. You don't need to know about all that other stuff right now. You just need to know me. And so that's all I desired to do, get to know God. And for a couple of months, 2 or 3 months, I just started, I read every day. 3 or 4, 5 chapters. Whenever I had free time, I was opening the Bible to get whatever I could. Time with God. And I wasn't saved, but I was willing to be. As I got to the New Testament, I'd heard some preaching. I heard the gospel. It never made any sense to me. This guy, Jesus, they talked about Jesus dying on a cross. Well, that didn't make any sense to me. But when I finally got to the New Testament and started reading in Matthew, and one of those early verses in there, and talking about this new baby that was born, who was he? And I read, this is God with us. Emmanuel was his name. What's what they called him. And I thought, okay, now I get it. Now I get what the death, burial, and resurrection is all about. It's about Jesus, Christ, Almighty God himself dying for me. Well, I got it. And man, it just made me want to get to know Christ so much more. I spent time, I was saved right then. I gave my life to him. I transferred everything that I had over to him. I just said, God, that's you. I want you. I want everything about you. You love me. You died on a cross for me. And I give my life to you. And I just kept reading. I wanted to know him. I wanted to know Christ. That's really what it was. I just spent time getting to know Christ. And God changed me. He transformed me from a rough old exterior to broken, soft on the inside, loving people where I hated people before. Man, it made all the difference in the world. Complete change. The moment I met Christ, I was a completely different person. I quit being self-centered and to loving people that God wanted me to love. Anyway, that's how I was saved. I was reading the Bible. I was going to church every week, but I didn't understand it. I really didn't trust people. But through the Bible, through spending time with God, getting to know him, reading the Bible, God saved me. And that's the short version. That's 14 minutes and 2 seconds. Bye.